Yeah, I think we have everyone. Yeah.
Okay, so
join.
it's couple minutes after 6. My name is Margaret Turner. I'm the chair of the Board of Selectmen. And my fellow selectmen are also on this call, Mike Aronson, and also Dr. Rich Rita, who we're going to call Doc Rita from now on. And quite a few of our town employees. What you should know about our town overall is that it runs with a relatively small group of employees. I think we're still under 25. And everybody kind of has multiple hats and crossover duties and those kind of things. And supplementing what I think is a great group of employees is a lot of volunteers, all kinds of different committees that are working with the employees and with Mark as our town manager. And so I'm very proud of these folks, and I think they do a great job, and I'm happy that we're doing this tonight, having a communication. And I'm going to turn it right over to Mark and let him go at it.
Okay, thank you, Margaret. So like Margaret said, our goal tonight is to introduce folks to our town government and our staff. What we noticed, especially during the general election, and certainly since the coronavirus pandemic has started, is so many new people. We have so many new people here in town, and a lot of folks who are new voters in town. So we just want to provide you with some background information and about our town government first. And we're going to do that this evening and answer any questions that you might have after our presentation here. And then on Thursday, we're going to talk specifically about town meeting, how we conduct it, and a little bit more about the town budget and some big ticket items that we have coming up in 2021 for town meeting. So this organization chart that you're looking at is the way we are organized here in the town of Waterville Valley town government. This chart represents well over, as Margaret said, well over 100 paid staff and volunteers. And that's full-time, part-time, year-round, and seasonal staff. And folks who help us out on special occasions like elections and town meetings and that sort of thing. So there are a lot of people who are involved in our town government and working hard to provide you with some services. Our town form of government is a town meeting, board of selectmen, town manager form of government by state statute. So the town meeting is our legislative body. They appropriate, the town meeting as a group appropriates all the money that we use in a given year. The Board of Selectmen are our governing body, so they take the instructions that town meeting passes through the town warrant, and they, throughout the year, implement those things that the town meeting said they wanted them to do. And then as the town manager, I'm the chief executive officer of the town, so I supervise the town staff and just the day-to-day operations and manage the budget for the town. And now I've lost, there you go. So let's make sure that I didn't forget anything. Thank you very much. I'm new to this thing here. So today, I'd like to have each of our town department heads give us a little bit of background on their departments. And first up, I'd like to begin with our public safety department over here on the left. So I'm going to turn it over to Chris Hodges. And if he gives me just a moment, I'm gonna start a new slideshow for y'all so they can talk and tell you about our Department of Public Safety. Chris?
Nice job, Mark. Thanks for getting everybody together. Um, my name is Chris Hodges. I'm the Director of Public Safety. In about 2 weeks, I will have been with the town along with Mark for 19 years. So it wouldn't be possible to have the longevity that I have without working for such a great town with such great residents and such great people to work with. It really makes the job a lot easier. So thank you to everybody for that. Our public safety department is a little unique in that we are public safety. Most towns in New Hampshire or New England or even the country have a separate police department, a separate fire department, separate ambulance service. All of our employees are cross-trained to answer all of those calls. So we're all under one roof and we all share those crossover duties. And it works out well for our department and our town because of the history here and the demographics and the geographics of where we are. So our mission statement, as Mark's put up there, is in cooperation with the people of Waterville Valley in partnership with other public and private agencies to assume leadership role for a problem-solving approach to preventing crime, fires, and disorder, providing for the safe and efficient flow of traffic, providing a variety of activities, improving the quality of life as we work together to make Waterville Valley truly New Hampshire's outstanding all-American town. And I really feel that as I drive around town and do my duties. And I really hope that our residents feel the same way. Dave Noyes is on this Zoom meeting. Dave Noyes is the police chief, and he's kind of our department spokesman. I'm more of an introvert than he is. As you can see, I'm sitting here in the dark with my cat behind me, and Dave has a Zoom room where he's put together a little presentation here. So I'll turn it over to him.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. And I'm only sitting in the Zoom room because my wife's a first grade teacher. So if you notice the stuff behind me, it's only reflective of what she does for work. We can move over to the next slide. So thank you for having me. For those of you who don't know who I am, again, my name is David Noyes. I'm the police chief for Waterville Valley. I've been here, as of October, I started my 17th year here. So like I can only echo what Chris has said is it has been the best kept secret in law enforcement. When I talk to other colleagues around the state and really realize that what a good thing we have here, and very appreciative for the support that we get from the town and from the community for what we do. So what do we do? So like Chris said, we respond to all police, fire, and emergency medical calls within the jurisdiction of Waterville Valley. And we also provide mutual aid to our neighbors, and our neighbors being Campton, Taunton, Plymouth, Holderness, Woodstock. We have these mutual aid agreements, whether it's a police call or whether it's a fire and EMS call. If it's required, we will go to those other towns and help them. Just like if we need their help, we will call them and they will come to our aid also. Part of the other things Margaret mentioned earlier, we do wear a lot of hats. In addition to that, we take care of code enforcement, building inspections. Chris is the health officer, I'm the deputy health officer, and we also handle the fire inspections in town. And one of a major component that we do here in the town is we have the luxury, not like many other departments around this state, to really get involved with community education and outreach. So we're heavily involved with the Special Olympics. a national night out, the Citizens Public Safety Academy, Coffee with a Cop, the Fishing Derby, and the list goes on. We work very closely with the schools and the academies, working with them with their emergency procedures and the different events throughout the year. Next slide. So just a little quick over, this is just a quick demographic of the type of apparatus and the vehicles that we use to accomplish our jobs. So we have two fire engine pumpers. One's a 2014 and one's a 2000. Last year we acquired our 100-foot tower that replaced the 30-plus-year-old tower that we had originally had here, and one utility vehicle, a pickup truck. We have an ambulance that's 2014, very good shape, and has really served us well. And we have one off-road UTV. It's a Mahindra with an extended bed that allows us to, for injured hikers and stuff during the non-winter months, allows us to perform some rescues, go pick up some mountain bikers and hikers and that sort of thing up on the mountains and stuff.
Seems like this yesterday, right?
We have two Ford Interceptor SUV cruisers, 2016 and a 2018. So that's just the apparatus that you guys may see in and around town. And that's just kind of an overview of what we have. Next slide. So as Chris mentioned, what makes us unique is we are the only full-time public safety department in the whole Northeastern United States. And we think that's pretty special. And it takes a really special person to want to be a public safety officer. We find a number of people and candidates that they may prefer the police side, they may prefer the fire side, or they may like the medical side, but finding the right person that's willing to do all three is very, very unique and very special when we do find that person. Just a little bit of a history down along the bottom. We first established the police department back in 1967. And I know Reggie may be on here from the Historical Society. There's been mentions of constables before that point. But as far as I know, the first police department with the first police chief was established in 67. The town purchased their first fire truck in 69. But they didn't have any place to park it, so they put it up at the garage and store next door where the transfer station is now. So in 1970, the residents approved $59,000 for a fire station, and they found out that they didn't have a lot of people to operate their fire trucks, and so they started training the police officers to operate the fire trucks. And from what I found is in the town meeting in 1971, the town voted to actually cross-train the police as firefighters and EMS, and thus the public safety department was born. So we're actually very excited because next year will actually be our 50th anniversary for public safety. And I know for me, I certainly feel that that's a big deal. And we look to try to plan something special to celebrate that. Next slide. So our organizational chart, you can see Chris is up there as the Department of Public Safety, the fire chief, the emergency management director, and the fire warden. And I fall directly below deputy director, police chief, deputy EMD, and the assistant fire chief. We split the supervisory positions for both the police and the fire side. Lieutenant Pat Pear serves as our police lieutenant, and our fire captain is Jeffrey Dropkin. And below them, we have our corporal, two corporals actually, that are first line supervisors, and our trainers, and a fire lieutenant who's our part-time fire trainer and inspector, excuse me. And then falls down to our public safety officers, full and part-time, and our per diem staff. We supplement our shifts with full mix of full-time, part-time, and per diem staff. And there, you can go ahead to the next slide to kind of give you an overview. So we have 6 full-time staff members, 7 part-time staff members, 7 per diem staff members, and 1 admin, part-time shared administrative. So we accomplish 24-hour, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We cover Waterville Valley for all emergency services with this many folks. And it takes this many, to be honest with you, because you just can't fill the hours of the time needed with that. And we really get a lot, like I said, get a lot out of these folks who, many of these can go back and forth, and we're fortunate that they can shift gears no matter what call comes in. Next slide. So our goals are certainly to provide the best service to all of you in the town. We have a number of efforts out there for open communication with our residents and visitors. For those of you who haven't downloaded the public safety app, the Tip 411 Waterville Valley Public Safety app is the best place where you're going to get town-wide notifications, and you can also submit anonymous tips through that. If you haven't done so, you can get it in the Apple Store or Google Play. Download it. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. And that is certainly the best place that we will use to communicate with you in the town for weather emergencies, road closures, anything like that. So we try to make sure that we're approachable, and you'll see us walking around in town square. We try to be at all the events, and we try to go where the people are. So you'll see us in the ski area in the winter, and we try to be as approachable as we can. We do have a social media. We have a Facebook page. Our website is more of the static information that we have on there, other than the news and announcements that Sharon puts up. Our Facebook page is more of the what are we kind of currently doing and that sort of thing. And we share it on there. So we do have a commitment to be the best public safety officers we could be. These guys do a ton of training, and it requires a lot of training. We have to maintain our police certifications and our EMS certifications annually. And so when we do have a bit of downtime, when it is quiet in the town, they do not remain quiet. These guys certainly have enough to do to keep them busy. And we are always looking for opportunities to create positive interactions with the public, meaning whether it's helping out the rec department at a race, being in town square for whether it's just a concert, we'll be there. And we really pride ourselves, and I know Chris and I really pride ourselves, and not to speak for him, but our employee retention has been excellent for a town of our size, especially in this part of the state, where we see a lot of other departments. There's a lot of turnover. We've been very fortunate to have very little turnover. We just had our previous police captain retire at 20 years of service last year, and Lieutenant Parr came in to replace him. Which was great, but you're talking one of our newest employees had 5 years of service on, so not so new, and we really take pride in that, and it speaks to the fact of how good of a place this place is to work. I think that's it. I believe. Is there next slide? Okay, yeah, that's right. There's so our activity summary. For you folks to kind of figure out, well, what do? We do report this in our annual report, but I did pull the numbers to date. This is up until last week. So you could see our numbers are calls for service. So that's anything that we get called to. That's a noise complaint, a dog call, motor vehicle complaint, any of those, anything, assist a citizen, unlock a car, jumpstart. Those are calls for service. So you'll see we stay pretty consistent. And due to COVID, you can see certainly 2020 is a lot different. So the number of crimes reported. So these are reported crimes to us that potentially somebody if investigated, could potentially be charged with a crime for. You'll see we're very consistent, and due to COVID, the 2020 numbers are pretty reflective across the board. Our traffic stops, this is annual traffic stops. You see 256 in 2018. Excuse me, in 2019, we definitely changed the way we patrol, and you can see that that increase. This year, again, due to COVID, we're above the 2018 numbers, but we're still down pretty low. Next slide. Our EMS calls, you could see there was a bit of a taper in from 18 to 2020. Certainly 2020, we're seeing a dip again due to COVID. But our fire calls, people still cook, and people still have CO alarms, and that always seems to remain pretty consistent. And again, our motor vehicle accidents, probably reflective for the amount of traffic and or the weather. Usually when the first snowstorm comes, we usually will get a handful in December. So I expect that number to increase just a little bit. But that's just a very broad look at just some of the statistics number wise and what we do. So I talked about our public safety app. I believe someone mentioned Nixle. We phased Nixle out. It's still active, but we're no longer using it. We're trying to push people to download the Waterville Valley Public Safety app. You'll see that patch that you can see on your screen, and that's the one that we want you to do. Yeah, that's fine. Our contact information is right there. Our dispatch number, 911, is always the best way to get in touch with us in an emergency. That is the most direct way to get in touch with us. Non-emergency calls, you can call our dispatch. That's the best way to get in touch with an officer, 236-4732. And that will give you directly to our dispatcher. And the daytime admin or voicemail, the best number is 8809. Next slide. And I just want to mention that throughout the year, we do have a Public Safety Officers Benevolent Association. It is a certified nonprofit, a 501c3, where many times throughout the year, people would like to give us donations, and this is the vehicle to be able to accept those donations. And we use those money to help other employees and around the town and citizens of the town, and act as a resource. We sell our pink patches in the month of October for breast cancer awareness, and all that money that we take in goes directly to the PSOBA, and we donate that money to the oncology department at Spear Memorial Hospital. I believe that's the last slide. If there, I'm more than happy to take any other questions, and otherwise we'll move on to the next.
That's me. Thank you, Dave. Let me advance here. So unfortunately this evening, our Public Works Director got called away for a personal issue. So Jim Mayhew's not going to be able to be with us this evening. So you're going to have to listen to me, unfortunately. Here's the chart for the Public Works Department. In just a moment, I'm going to ask Dylan Tucker to take us through the Municipal Services Division, which falls directly under Jim Mayhew. These other folks are the individual employees who work for Jim in the Public Works realm. The duties and responsibilities for the Public Works Department are very diverse. And as you can see from the organization chart here, where as an example, Jeff Blake is our town mechanic, but he is shared with the water department in the maintenance of their stuff, and also shared with the highway department, and will plow. And that's the same for all of the other employees. Everybody has different jobs to do, so that we can cover all of the duties and responsibilities throughout the year within the Public Works Department. For the department specific responsibilities, we maintain 7.5 miles of road. And that includes everything from sanding and salting and plowing during the winter, patching potholes in the spring and the summer, fixing drainage like culverts, maintaining the road edges, and those sorts of things. In addition to the highways, the Public Works Department is also responsible for our solid waste collection and disposal. We, in 2019, collected and transported approximately 870 tons of municipal solid waste from here up to the landfill in Bethlehem. And as we are tracking that number for this year, surprisingly, even with COVID, we are going to track within about 5 to 10% of that number in 2020. We do that by the dumpsters that we have around town. We have 60 total that are located in many different areas as you see them. We have a rear loading packer truck that we use to pick up those dumpsters. We usually are out picking up trash 3 or 4 days a week. And then we make at least 2, sometimes more trips to the Bethlehem landfill to dump that truck. So it is very busy when you think about driving all the way from here to Bethlehem, unloading the truck at the landfill and driving back. That can be almost a half a day of work for the driver and sometimes for 2 employees. So this is a very time-consuming part of what Public Works does on a day-to-day basis. And I know we talk about it off and on, but we do actually recycle some electronics, scrap metal, and tires up at our transfer station up here above Town Hall. Last year, in 2019, we recycled 36.7 tons of materials through the transfer station. All of that material is collected and then picked up by outside contractors and disposed of. The Public Works Department's final major area of responsibility is buildings and grounds. We do maintain 9 town-owned buildings here in town, plus Packard's Field, all the grounds around the town buildings. And as I mentioned before, we mow and control vegetation around all of the roadsides along those 7.5 miles of road. So there is quite a bit of work that is done by those 7 folks all throughout the year. There are many times when their work week is beyond just 5 days a week because we do, especially in the winter time, of course, with snow plowing and everything else, that's a 24/7 job for that season as the weather dictates. These are the major areas of responsibility for Public Works. And I would say this, if Jim were here, I'd really want to thank him and his crew because they really are our go-to guys when it comes to supporting a lot of different organizations around town, helping out the Ray Center and other nonprofits. They're really our manpower for those jobs that we need to get done. And just as an example, it's not a nonprofit, it is a town maintained thing with the maintenance of the dam at Corcoran Pond. But yesterday with the big rain event that we had, we got over 4 inches of rain in just a few hours last night. And at the dam, the flashboards that are part of the dam system actually bent over, and Jim and the Public Works guys are going to have to get out as soon as the water is low enough, and they're going to actually have to make repairs to the dam. So they're really the jack of all trades, and they master a lot of it too. So just want to thank them for all of the work that they do on a day-to-day basis. So I'm going to turn this over to Dylan Tucker, who is going to talk us through the Municipal Services Division, which is our water and sewer departments. Go ahead, Dylan.
Thank you, Mark. My name's Dylan Tucker, as Mark previously mentioned. I was hired to replace Greg Campbell, who was the chief operator here at the wastewater treatment plant for, I think, 15 years, but worked here for 39. That's correct, Mark.
Yep.
Our primary responsibility here in the department is protecting public health and safety by producing clean drinking water throughout town, and also treating our wastewater to a very high standard before discharging to the Mad River. Our daily duties primarily consist of operating and maintaining the wastewater treatment facility and the drinking water treatment facility, as well as the collection system, which carries the sewage to the wastewater treatment plant, and the distribution system, which carries the treated drinking water throughout Waterville Valley. What goes along with that is collecting samples and analyzing for quality assurance, and making sure that all of our equipment is properly functioning and is doing as we intend it to. On the drinking water side of things, we have 3 wells, well 2, 3, and 4. Currently, well 3 is not online due to previous issues that took it offline. We have a project that's going on right now. We're doing planning, and next year, I believe, is when the connection will occur to get 2 and 3 tied into the treatment building at where well 4 also pumps to, which will have a uniform treated water, which will be much more beneficial to the town. You won't have any variables. It'll all be one source, and it'll be a much better product in the end. We typically produce between 40 to 45 million gallons of treated drinking water annually. That again, our average daily flow will vary depending on the time of the year. Peak flow and demand definitely changes. Even this past summer with COVID took a toll on us big time. Something we didn't expect, but it surpassed everything we had anticipated. Mark, if you could go back to that last slide, I'll talk about the distribution system. So where Mark's pointing right now, that's well 3. That is the current well that's offline. The project we have going on right now is going to bring that back online, which will bring it where Mark's pointing is the treatment building and well 2. Well 2 will get connected into that treatment building, which will then pump up and out to the distribution system to meet any demand at the reservoir tanks up on Snows Mountain or anywhere out into the other side of town, even as far as the library or, the school and Noon Peak, depending on where the largest demand is, that's where it'll end up going. We have an asset management, sorry, Mark, well 4 is also out in the National Forest, which is way out, undisturbed by really anything, which is probably the best well that we have. It has the highest capabilities for recovery, and there's a really good quality of water in the raw water as well. We were able to get approved at town meeting half of our funding for an asset management study to go through all of our assets on the drinking water side, which include the pipeline that the distribution system consists of, all of our pumps, valves, controls, all of our analyzers, any sort of mechanical device really that has a valuation that they can break down and show the life cycle of over the course of 50 years as well. It is going to be a big benefit. That, as I said, there's a 50-50 split between the state and the town of Waterville Valley. But moving on to the wastewater side, which is a little bit more to it, really, the wastewater treatment plant here in Waterville Valley is a very unique plant in its design. There's only a handful, and I want to say less than 10 in all of North America, just based on the treatment processes that we use, which are preliminary treatment, secondary treatment, and tertiary treatment. The reason why we have these multiple different stages of treatment is because of the permit that we were issued by the EPA which is our National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permit. In order to achieve the strict parameters that are outlined in that permit, we need to have these different stages of treatment. The quality of effluent that we produce is some of the cleanest, if not the cleanest, in the state of New Hampshire. It's a very good system. It's showing its age, however, through hard work that the town has and money that the town has put into the facility to keep it going. We're still plugging along with it. We do still typically treat in the same area 40 to 50 million gallons of municipal wastewater annually. Daily flows carried through the collection system all the way throughout town. There are a few different areas that, or households really, that don't have municipal sewer, but again, transient guests and rain events are the biggest effect on what we receive. Transient guests, I mean, we can see upwards of 3 times what our typical average flow is just overnight, depending on what's going on, whether it be Christmas or February vacation, mass vacation week. And that really does take a toll on the equipment and the available capacity in the lagoons. So on the asset management side, we are also able to get that approved at town meeting, although it was 100% funded by New Hampshire DES, which was huge for us because of the age of our facility. It's going to really highlight some troubled areas and bring to light some of the things that we need to pay attention to and plan for in the future. I think that's all I have, Mark.
Okay, thank you very much. We're gonna move on to the rec department now, and I'll ask Brooke to start. And she has some slides for us, so I'm gonna get that started and turn it over to Brooke Wakefield, our recreation director.
Thank you, Mark. Again, my name is Brooke Wakefield. I'm just coming to the end of my 6th year here with the town. And the goal of the recreation department is really to bring quality programs and recreation services to the town residents and also to our guests. Go ahead, next slide.
There you go.
You know, within the recreation world, we're really not a very typical recreation department that has youth sports and other things that would serve a larger community. We really do year-round activities for, again, our residents, our second homeowners, and our tourists. And we are in our 40th year in 2020, so that's a long time going. We work with 20 seasonal staff, and there are 3 full-time employees. So that's me as the director, Sandra as our recreation manager and camp director, and then we have Eric Amaro, who recently joined us as our adventure and parks program manager. We are made up of our part-time staff, and the people that work here are students and teachers and outdoor enthusiasts. And we have lots of recreation adventure programs. And in 2019, we served 21,000 people. Of course, this year it's quite a bit different with COVID, but over 20,000 is a pretty typical number of the people that we serve throughout each year. So our facilities are our recreation department building, which is of course attached to the school with our own entrance. There's a multi-purpose room, a stage, a full gymnasium, pickleball courts, and also we do have a 30-foot indoor climbing wall. We have Packard Field, which is a regulation size soccer field, and there's a playground there near next to that by the Golden Eagle. And then we have the Corcoran Pond Beach and where we do our boat rentals. For our recreation programs, again, this is a different year, but you know, typically we have a lot of different general programs. Right now, we are offering a Bear Factory program. We are also going to be offering virtual bingo and family trivia, trying all sorts of virtual activities to keep people occupied while we're not having people in the building. that are outside of the Waterville Valley Elementary School kids. We are able to offer our after-school program to those kids. We're currently doing a kindergarten through second grade program 3 days a week. And one of our biggest accomplishments at the rec department is our summer day camp, where we serve ages 7 to 12 years old in a day camp, which is usually 9 weeks during the summertime. We also have had lots of opportunity to serve the adults of our community. We have a challenge with that with COVID, but we have offered indoor cycling, Zumba, and we do have pickleball courts outdoors as well as indoors. We also try to offer holiday program specials, and many of the events that we offer throughout the year happen with coinciding holidays. We have our Easter egg hunt, a really fun event called You Gotta Regatta. We put on the fall foliage foot race that happens in October. We help the public safety out with the youth fishing derby. We also have the July 4th parade, carnival and fireworks, Halloween and Chalk Festival. These are just sort of our mainstays that we have throughout the year. A couple of years ago, we started an initiative for hiking. Right now in our adventure programs, we have our guided hikes. We do a lot of local and regional guided hikes. Some of them are fee-based, but currently we do offer Thursday guided hikes that are free to our taxpayers. Definitely something that people should check out if they are in the area looking for something to do on Thursdays. We also offer snowshoe outings. Those happen usually late December through March, depending on the weather. We also have our hiking club after school program, which has been happening on Fridays for our Waterville Valley Elementary School 3rd through 5th graders. We have our Summit Teen Camp during the summer for the teenage group. And Eric is also offering lots of skills workshops, fly tying, geocaching, map and compass. We are hoping to start offering archery next year. We also, one of our biggest operations during the summertime, it's actually from about Memorial Day all the way through the Columbus Day weekend, is our boat rentals out on Corcoran Pond. A couple other things that, here we go, facility rentals and game facilitation. So this is also adjusted, but this is just another service that we have provided historically, as birthday parties and family reunions. We offer space for that to happen, as well as facilitation of that. We offer climbing wall, dodgeball, knocker ball. Lots of things have happened in our gym during non-COVID times that give everyone a place to get together for recreating. We have also enjoyed doing field and beach rentals to parties and gatherings and groups. And most recently, we've been able to offer custom guided hikes to groups looking for an adventure. Some of the services and sales that we provide currently, even though our lobby is closed, is we still sell fishing licenses. We are able to sell the WVAIA hiking map and our own Waterville Valley guidebook, as well as the White Mountain National Forest parking passes. And other projects that take up a fair amount of our time, which have been great projects during the COVID time period, as we worked really hard on the Waterville Valley guidebook, which was released in August. And we also have our patch programs, the Waterville Valley Redliner 125 patch, and also recently released Redliner 125 patch, Pathfinder 70 patch. Most recently, the Hike Waterville Valley. Site. Are you hearing that echo, Mark?
Yeah, not sure what it is. We're gonna work on it though.
All right, let's go to the next slide.
Hey, Mark, I think if you can mute Ray Kultursky.
Hi.
Hi,
All right, are we all set?
All right, are we all set?
I think that is really for
That's it.
All right. Just going back here to our other slides. All right, so thank you, Brooke. Sorry about that. So this is the administrative side of the organization. So we've gone through each of the specific departments providing us with our physical operations day to day. There are many different functions and key individuals that we have in our on the administrative side, and probably the major office and the major operation here in administration is our town clerk. And I think we have Terry Waite here. He can unmute himself and tell me whether or not he made it.
I'm here.
All right. So I'm going to turn it over to our town clerk, Terry Waite.
Thank you, Mark. I'm Terry Waite. I'm the elected town clerk. The responsibilities of this office include maintaining the town residency list for purposes of voting and for auto registration. We do the motor vehicle registration, the vital records, maintain official town records, oversee elections, issue dog licenses and so forth. You see me probably, if you voted at the polls, you'll see me at the ballot box at the very end of the line, checking your name off. That's one of the duties. A lot of signatures involved. I'll be signing your resident applications, your marriage licenses, birth certificates and so forth. And I do the swearing into the offices. You have a appointed deputy clerk in Reggie Breckner. She's a big help. She brings a lot of knowledge to the office as well from her previous years as the town clerk. And the invaluable work of the clerk assistant, Sharon Sharon, who really does all the work. I get the election part of it. And just like any politician, I hand the work over to somebody else. So most of the contact you'll have is with Sharon at the town office, and she knows all these individual items inside out. So I'm going to turn it over to Sharon and have her go through the explanation of each one of those responsibilities.
Oop. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Terry, and thank you, Mark. My position, as Terry said, I am the town clerk assistant. So I am Terry's assistant. I am I do help him with all of the tasks that he mentioned. And the town clerk has a variety of duties and responsibilities. One of the most important is, and most valuable to the town, is to maintain our residency list and make sure this list is up to date and accurate. And this year was a very busy year for new residents in our community. We ended the 2019 year and we had a total of 454 residents on our list. As of today's date of December 1st, we now have 572 residents. Looking at that, you think it's a little over about 120 increase from the past year, but we've removed about 40 individuals from our residency list over the year who've either sold properties, relocated to other towns. So in total, we have a total number of 156 new residents that have come into Waterville Valley this year. That's a pretty large number, and it's the largest increase that we've seen in a town population, and I probably forever. We had at the end of last year, for the school year, this is something interesting. 40 of our new residents for this year are school-age children who are, most of them are all enrolled at the Waterville Valley Elementary School. At the conclusion of school last year in June, we had 17 students in our school. And this year, presently, we have over 60 children in that school, which is the largest increase in student population in town history. So we're hitting some record numbers. Everyone who does come in to relocate here to Waterville Valley is asked to complete a residency questionnaire. And this is reviewed by the town clerk. This is a series of simple questions to help the clerk and our office get to know you and get to know you better and your reasons for moving into Waterville Valley. Many towns don't go to this extent for their new residents, but we do here in Waterville. It's a unique community, being that so many of the properties in town are seasonal homes of many, or vacation homes, or weekend homes. So we'd like to know who is actually staying here and living here and maintaining their residency here in town. That leads into our motor vehicles, registrations, and titling. We have part of our residency requirement is that you need to register and title your vehicle here in town. The town has 3 motor vehicle agents that we can all assist you with doing these tasks for yourself. Myself, as well as Judy Rolfe, and as well as Nick Giuliani. The 3 of us are here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, and 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And anytime during those hours, anyone needs to register a vehicle, we can help you out. The process of motor vehicle registrations is different from state to state. So many people are very surprised when they come into town to find out they can come into the town office and register and title and get new license plates all in one-stop shopping, which is very different than many other states. So it's we hope that the process is easy and seamless for you once you come in, and that you get what you need very quickly. Driver's licenses is another motor vehicle component that we don't offer. The driver's licenses right here in town, we direct you to go to a state agency, the state DMV office, to get that done. This year with COVID, obviously there's been a lot of changes at that level, and it's been a longer process to obtain driver's licenses this year with appointment settings and getting them. But I feel that we've captured and given the correct information to all of our new residents and assisted them in getting those processes done. I always refer to Twin Mountain, which is north of us, as the easiest motor vehicle substation that you can ever get to. And it's a beautiful drive as well. So another component that the clerk is responsible for is vital records. Vital records can be a birth, marriage, or a death certificate, and they're as certified copies. The most fun part of issuing vital records would be certainly the marriage licenses. And it's pretty neat to see couples come into town, learn about their connection to Waterville Valley, why they are here, and why they have chosen Waterville Valley to get married in. Marriage licenses can be applied for at any town or city clerk's office in the state. In a lot of border towns in the southern part of the state, do see a large volume of marriage licenses. We don't get as many as those communities do. So when we do get them here in town, it's a lot of fun, and it's sometimes there's pictures taken, of the couple, and we make it time for them. Town records is another important part of the town clerk's responsibilities. The maintenance and filing of those town records, maintaining their integrity and making sure they are kept in proper formats for access as well as just for safe storage. Our historical, Waterville Valley Historical Society has gone through and taken over some town, not town records, but some town historical documents, which you've probably seen displayed, and you will, I believe, see displayed more so in the years to come as the Historical Society circulates and displays those items. There's some pretty neat documents in there to look at. Neat going back as far as you know, the original town charter dating back into the 1800s. Another big aspect of the town clerk's is elections. In 2020, we had a big election year, very big. 4 elections this past year. We started with the presidential primary in early February, followed by our own town meeting and town election in March, and then had a little break. COVID came and we all kind of adjusted our ways and what we did. But the fall elections were upon us since the year began, and very active with those elections. As with the number of new residents we had in town, we had a large number of new voters and voter registrations. We had a very large number, the largest numbers we've seen in absentee ballot requests. And these are all very specific processes that need to take place and very detail oriented. And it does take a few sets of eyes on these documents to review, to approve, and to get everything in the right order. The clerk's office works with all the election officials, and it's not only the town clerk with the elections, the town clerk, the deputy town clerk, the moderator, the supervisors of the checklist, the ballot clerks. It takes a lot of folks to run an election. It's certainly a group effort, and we are very fortunate to have a lot of wonderful folks in town who volunteer time for these jobs. And without these volunteers in their place, we could not run an election. They certainly do the majority of the work on election day, and they've done a great job this past year with the challenges of COVID and assisting voters and making sure everything is done as it should be. Another aspect of our town clerk's office is dog licenses. We have a lot of dogs in town. We have a lot of people in town. A lot of people love animals, so we have a lot of dogs in town. Dog licenses are a pretty simple process to do. However, we do require that all licenses, to initially get one, we need a valid rabies certificate. Very simple to ask your veterinarian to send one to us if you've lost yours. Dog licenses are renewed on an annual basis, and they expire in the end of April each year. I usually try to send out notices and post notices by the end of February, giving folks about 2 months time to get their dogs registered for the coming year. Some of our other, being that I know some of the other Chief Noyes and Brooke and have mentioned that we all wear a lot of hats in town, and the town office is certainly no exception to that. You might come in here to the town office to pay your water and sewer bill and walk out with a new guidebook. So I know Brooke was mentioning this as well. She didn't have one handy. I just grabbed one from the counter. This is a wonderful book. I'm telling everybody, if you own a place in Waterville and you're watching and you don't have one of these in your home, then you need to come down here tomorrow and buy one. We have lots. They are, they're $20, I believe. Should know the price right off the top of my head. But this
25, Sharon.
25. Thank you, Brooke. But this is something that great Christmas gifts upcoming. But if you're an avid hiker, trail person, you need to get this book in your possession. But there's a lot of other things that the town office does. We certainly are giving out information regarding anything from, you know, I need a local plumber. Where do I go? Who do I call? I need to get my driveway plowed. If I'm not in an association, maybe I'm in a private homeowner, who do I call? Different sorts of things. Where's the best farm stand in the area? Where do you get your haircut? What's the dentist? What dentist should I use? So we deliver so much information out to the community from the town office. Anything that comes through the door, it's a different question each day, and the variety of the questions is depends what hat you're wearing, and it keeps it fun, and it keeps it interesting for us here in the town office, because it's never the same thing every day. And diversity is a wonderful thing, and we're lucky to have that here in Waterville Valley. Our town office is open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., all non-holiday. We are available by email as well. And we do have a great website. So if there's a lot of information is on that website, however, if you can't find something and you need to know, you just pick up the phone and give us a call, and we'll get you that answer. And I think that's all I have, Mark, unless
All right.
there's something
Thanks a lot, Sharon.
else. Okay, you're welcome.
Appreciate it. And I just want to also give Sharon a shout out, because she does maintain our website and our social media platforms, Facebook page and things like that. And she does a great job with that in helping us to communicate with folks here in town. So thank you very much, Sharon, for doing that and everything that you do. Final thing here, our town volunteers and elected appointed officials. I don't want to go into a whole lot of detail about these, other than to say that we provide a lot of different services to the town outside of the town office from an administrative standpoint, and that includes our library trustees and our land use board, planning and zoning and Conservation Commission, just a whole bunch of people doing lots of different things for the community. So just really, oh, and I do want to point out, and it was on my organization chart back here, the post office, the town, unlike many communities in the state of New Hampshire, provide the post office for town. It's actually a town contracted postal unit. And that just means that the United States Postal Service and the town of Waterville Valley have a written agreement. And Ann and Mike are town employees. They work with the Postal Service out of the Campton post office, and they provide us with all of the mail here in town. So that is something that not many communities probably in the entire United States provide, but we do that here in Waterville. So thank you for all of these folks here on our volunteer elected and appointed officials. And just want to say thanks. And I'm gonna actually, we came within 5 minutes of the presentation time that we targeted, so I'm pretty happy about that. But now we'd like to open it up, and I'm gonna stop sharing the screen. And we're gonna look at your faces, and we're gonna open it up to questions. Just unmute yourself if you have any questions about the information we've provided this evening. Please let us know. Anybody have anything? Wow, we did a great job, huh? Well, I would like to point out that we're going to do sort of the same thing on Thursday evening, but we're going to concentrate on town meeting, what that process looks like, because there are so many new folks here in town. We want to make sure that everybody's ready to just be with us on that second Tuesday in March and have a great time talking about the town business for 2021. We're going to talk about the town budget, so you know what to expect, and talk about some major projects that we have coming up in the coming years. So thank you very much, everyone, for your attention this evening, and I hope you found this information useful, and look forward to talking to you on Thursday evening. Thank you to all the department heads for being here, and Terry and everybody else. Thank you, Selectmen. Any
Thanks, Mark.
closing thoughts, Margaret, or are we good to go?
Thank you. Nice job, everybody.
All right, thanks. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, Mark.